Whoa, sick shirt, bro. Okay, slow.
Well, welcome back, YouTube. Hope everybody's having a good day. I am too. And today we're going to do a little more work on the S10. As of right now, I did get the intake pulled off the truck, as I have to put an air intake temp sensor on my intake. But I did get the rockers in. I did get the push rods in. I did verify push rod length. The push rods I was using before are the correct size, so they're gonna work for this one. And I did pull off my old fuel pump. This is a Holley 12-1800. This fuel pump did me amazing for the years I used it. It's just to the point we were at the power level that it wasn't gonna keep up anymore. So I did remove that as well last night. I didn't film that, and I'm kind of glad I didn't film it because I made a mess in the garage. I had a full fuel cell full of fuel, and I drained it, and I think half of it ended up on my garage floor. So my garage smells horrid of E85. But to go on with the new fuel pump, it's almost a direct bolt-in. I got this 5.0 from Garage Built Racing here, and this thing is ginormous, and it's the single speed one, and it's only a 2-wire, so I just need a power and a ground. I do have a 70 amp relay. I got that from Excessive, so I'm gonna run that to power this, make sure I have the correct power going to the fuel pump, because running out of fuel on these things is not a good thing to do. I do have this fitting that does go into here to connect to my current fuel lines, but on this guy here I have to go and get a different O-ring for this, as this O-ring on this one right now is not rated for fuel. This one is, so I have to get one just like this over here. That's just easy as running to the hydraulic store, getting that done. But to fit this fuel pump, I made this little template. I keep all like these cardboard things that come into the gasket kits. I keep all the cardboard on them. And this goes underneath my box here. So I'm gonna make it a little bit better than what I had. I just had some bolts with some spacers in it. It was really tacky, kind of farmerized is what we call it. So how I'm going to do it this time is I made this little bracket here, and it sets up like this. You know, it bolts to this bracket, and it's underneath my box, and the box has like channels to hold the bottom side of the box flat. So on these channels, they're 2.5 inch rise. So I kind of made it so I'm gonna do something sort of like that and bend it so that I can put bolts here and bolt it to the bottom of this, and then I can do bolts on this and keep it onto one of those channels there and keep the fuel pump nice and secure in a safe spot. I'm no fab person, so I'm just gonna wing it. I'm gonna get the cutoff wheel on the grinder out, and I'm gonna cut this out, and I'm gonna stick it in the vise, and I'm gonna try my best to get a straight bend out of it. My air intake temp sensor was on my boost tube before. That's right here. So I got this sensor. This was the throttle body here. But now, since I'm running the intercooler on the intake, you want to get the air intake temps after the intercooler. So what we are going to do is we're going to take this, and as I got the first edition Holley high rise, I don't have any more ports down here. So we're going to drill a hole down here, and then we're going to stick the temperature sensor down here and kind of keep it hidden. It's just a little more cleaner. I could put it down here on the back, but then you got your oil pressure sensor back there, and I just don't want to get things too cobbled up back there. So we're just going to put it down on the bottom. But other than that, you know, I haven't done really much. I guess just stay tuned and we'll get to cutting and see how I can fab this up. I'm not a professional fab guy. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just winging it. So guess you'll see how I wing it. Now that I have it cut out, I'm going to do one bend on this one and one bend on here. I'm just going to stick them in my vise, and it's aluminum, so I'm just going to manhandle it and pull it over. It's probably not going to be pretty, but it's going to work. I probably should have used the Sawzall on that. It probably would have took half the time, but I'm not good with Sawzall, so my lines are really jagged, and as you can see on this, it's pretty decently straight. It's not the best, but it will work. I mean, it's just a plate to hold the fuel pump onto the truck. That's literally what it is, without like actually having to like weld stuff. It's just gonna be bolted in, real nice and simple. So I'm gonna get pulling on that, and I'm gonna try putting a couple 90-degree bends in it. So I just now realized that in my vise, putting it all the way down, I won't be able to get that one line. So I'm just going to use my bench here, and I'm going to clamp them down with some C-channels, and I'm just going to press down and bend it that way. As you could see, I had to use the hammer to get the good bend in there. But it looks like it's gonna be a good bend for there. So now I gotta do this other one. I'm gonna flip this one up. I think I'll be able to do that one in the vise. I'm not 100% sure, but we're gonna give it a whirl. Well, the vise wasn't working. I tried a little bit of heat. The heat didn't work, so I went back to just clamping it down, and I'm just gonna hammer it down. I guess when you're just garage building stuff, you just make it work with what you have. I don't have much. I try to get some more stuff as I go, but we just rock it when we have it. See how this turned out here. Well, that didn't turn out too bad. You can see my hammer marks in it. I'm not too worried about it. It's gonna be underneath the truck, bolted underneath the box. So no one's really going to see it. I know it's there. I know how I did it. So I'm not the one to judge. It's going to do what it's going to do. Just going to bolt under there. Fuel pump's going to hold on to it. So I'm going to bend this template back on it, and we'll get the holes drilled for the fuel pump. We'll get the fuel pump bolted on, and then maybe we'll put the fuel pump in. I don't quite know if I'm going to wire it. I have a wire relay panel, and I'm going to have to switch a couple things up on it as of now. You might not be able to see it. Let me grab my flashlight. A trusty little Harbor Freight flashlight here. That bends just magnificently. But I got this relay panel here. I did this myself too, but currently number 3 is my main fuel pump one. So with that 70 amp relay, I'm gonna have to put it like right here, and I'm gonna try getting these wires, my power wires, ran to it to go there. And then down here I have all my wires labeled and everything. I'm gonna have these wires that are already ran to the back of the truck. I'm just gonna use those for it. So then it's gonna be pretty simple to hook the fuel pump up, you know, just ground it out and have the power wire here and, you know, the trigger and everything. But other than that, you know, that's gonna be pretty simple. And then I actually have number 9 as my secondary fuel pump for the Hobbs switch. Now, I'm not gonna run a Hobbs switch because this 5.0 pump is just gonna run as fast as it can all the time. So I'm going to use this number 9 relay for the water box on my S10. So when I flip on my fuel switch, my fan switch, it's gonna turn that on, and when that turns on, it's gonna turn my trans cooler fans on, and my radiator fans, and my water pump. So they all should be ran off the same switch. So every time I turn it on, everything's on. That's where my outline of my fuel pump's going to be. We'll just set the fuel pump up here. We'll put a dot in the center of the holes for the mounting. And I'm going to come back with a hole punch, and I will do a hole punch on those little dots, and we'll drill them out. Gonna stick it in the vise and drill some holes. Now we got the 4 holes drilled. I made a mess. Story of my life here. I made a mess, but we got the 4 holes drilled. And that's just gonna be right where the fuel pump bolts to. I got a couple bolts and washers and lock nuts that it's gonna go to. It's gonna sit right like that, right on the holes, and just be bolted to it. And I'm gonna bolt the plate to the truck, and then I'll be ready to go. So I'm up underneath the truck here, and this plate is gonna go like that. So I'm gonna bolt it in right up in here and right here, and that's where the fuel pump's gonna bolt. And then I'll have my feed line coming from there to there. Should be pretty easy and look good at the same time. Well, I got the bracket finished. It's not in its final position. I'm gonna use a couple bolts to bolt it in, but this is what it's going to look like. It's gonna sit here underneath the truck, and I got my feed line hooked up to it. I got my fuel filter, and then I got my feed line from the fuel cell. I'm gonna drill these holes out in here a little bit better, and I'm gonna put bolts in them, and this will be done. I got my wire right here. This wire will be for the power. I'm gonna get a good ground for the ground. This other red wire will be the power for my ice pump, my water pump for my ice box. And that will be done. I got some new shocks on the way, so stay tuned for those, as I got a surprise coming. Gonna help this thing out a lot. But that's what the fuel pump's gonna look like, minus a couple bolts holding this in so this don't go nowhere. It's pretty sturdy now, and I gotta finish putting the bolts in here too. But that's what it is going to look like. Not bad for old hillbilly like me. Also, I think I'm going to loosen the parachute release cable, and I'm going to run that a different way, as I have the release handle up there, and then I have all that stuff, the cable running underneath the cab. But I'm going to put my passenger seat back into the truck and have the passenger seat in there. So I think I'm just going to run the cable underneath the seat bracket here, and then bolt it up over here, just so the release, I don't have to reach up over my head and pull it, and it'll be just, you know, right down below by the shifter, and be a little more safe there. I think I'm gonna weld a couple tabs to that so I can drill holes and get that in there. Well, I did some wiring. I also moved my parachute handle. I got the parachute handle right here, and it's mounted in. It's gonna be kind of nice because that's my third gear, so when I'm at the end of the run, all I gotta do is flick the switch and we'll be good. And I had that big old 70 amp relay, and I got it wired into right here, and I did all my wiring. I did this relay panel myself. It's not pretty, but I know what the wires are, so I guess that's kind of all that really matters. And also, we were using number 9 relay for my secondary pump on my old fuel pump, which now I converted that over to the relay for the power on my ice box. So over here, all I had to do is jumper from a fan, that my trans fan and radiator fan, to the power of my relay number 9. So when this gets triggered, this brings power over here to trigger this one as well, and then the power comes out of this one and goes down the truck and into the back where the ice tank is going to be. I'm going to set the ice tank right here. My truck's just a mess right now. The good thing about being a truck, you could just put all your parts that are off the truck in the box and not on shelves and everything. So I got that done, and I did kind of zip tie in the parachute release cable. I'm gonna go underneath the truck, and I'm gonna tidy up how that's running underneath the truck, and then we'll come back and we'll put the parachute on and get the cable all adjusted. And other than that, I think I'm done for a little bit. My ice tank is supposed to show up, I think Wednesday or Thursday. Then I can start on that. I still have hoses. The hoses I ordered for the ice tank are on back order. I'm not quite sure when those will be in. I got an email saying that they could be the 14th of April. So that might be a while. I might be waiting on that. And then I just gotta drill a hole into my intake, tap it for 3/8 pipe thread so my air intake temp sensor could fit in that. I'm going to throw the passenger seat back in, because street truck, you know how that works. Everybody's got a street car, you know. I don't have windshield wipers, but you don't need them if you don't drive in the rain, correct? So yeah, I think that's gonna do it for today, besides rerouting that parachute cable. And maybe next time you see me, we will be putting an ice box in. Well, I thank you guys for watching. My garage is a mess. I'm sorry. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell your friends. I'm really trying to grow this channel. I know it's going to take some time, but you guys are the one that can help me grow the channel. So if you guys would share it and subscribe, that would make things better for me. And you guys rock, and have a nice day.